This is off the shelf.
Oh yeah, technically it is.
My microphone is now
in the helmet. We saw, this is kind of a weird one because it's not a movie that was released anytime soon, but we went and saw in theaters Interstellar for AMC's Space Week.
Oh, is that what that was for?
Mm-hmm.
Fur.
There's
fur everywhere. So we saw
Interstellar.
yeah.
The hit science fiction film of 2014.
Which I hadn't seen since we saw it in theaters at AMC.
2014. Yeah. At that same theater.
At that exact same theater.
Keep doing that. We saw it. It was amazing.
It was just as good as I remember it being.
I love this movie. I drove 3 hours to see this movie the first time because I am a pretentious snob who wants to see
Well,
things.
I could have told you that.
And when you buy the special edition of Interstellar, you get a cell of the film.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's not McConaughey or Anne Hathaway. That's her name.
More like Anne Hathaway, am I right, ladies?
Is she?
Up top. No, she's
No,
not.
that's what
That
I
was
thought.
just had nothing to do with it. More like Matthew McConaughey.
Because Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh.
Interstellar's amazing, and I don't even know where to start.
I don't know.
Keep talking.
Oh, I don't even know what I was gonna say. Vamping.
This is one of the reasons I love the film.
The
It's
soundtrack is amazing. Also, Hans Zimmer stole a track from your brother.
Yeah, that was super weird.
That was a weird realization. That was from this movie, right?
Yes, because Interstellar came out, and it was sometime where I think I came back for a fall break or something because I was up at school, and I came back and I'm like, Sam, you've got to see this movie. You've got to hear the soundtrack. It's so good. And I showed him a bit of the soundtrack on Spotify, and he goes, wait, I wrote this. And he plays this song that he wrote for a video game. I can't remember who was developing it, but I guess it's caught in development hell because I haven't seen anything from it since Sam told me about it. But some video game some friends of his were making that he was writing some music for, and it was almost the exact same melody.
It was very
It was
similar.
super weird.
So Hans Zimmer, we're coming for you.
Yeah. To get that lawsuit ready. Call your lawyers. We're after you. I love so many things about this movie. I love the performances. I love the soundtrack. The
pace.
Cinematography is amazing.
The pacing is really good because it's
a 3-hour movie.
It's such a long movie. When you get to the end of it,
Copy of American Cinematographer.
oh my gosh, it's in everything. You don't even feel. It doesn't feel like 3 hours, at least to me. Every time I get to the end of this movie, both times, I felt like
Hoyte van Hoytema. I can't remember why I forgot his name.
every time
van
I've gotten
Hoytema.
to the end of it, I've wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. It's such a compelling story, and it's so well written that you're in it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, as we often do when we'll get to talking about the effects and the sort of the more novel things that make these films really interesting. Interstellar, I think I read either in this article or in a different article that there's only one shot in the whole movie that uses green screen.
Oh wow.
They built, because this was 2014, it was right about the time we were doing The Hollow Sun, and I was reading all this stuff about it and going, oh, I wish I could do that. Because they built all these spaceship interiors and had them in the studio, and instead of having green screen outside of the set, like you would often do, they prevised all the visual effects and had them all ready, and they had the entire ship surrounded by a projection screen that they were projecting all like when you see something out the window, the actors are also seeing that because that's being projected by some really high resolution projector somewhere else in the studio. And I'm like, that's really neat. Like this shot of them lowering the Ranger into the Icelandic Sea on a crane
Oh, that's what that was.
to get that landing shot.
I did not know they did that.
But the other thing, when me and my buddies went to go see this, the robots are so good.
Yes.
Tars and Case are like
great.
one of the best parts of the whole movie. And
I
we
love
like,
Tars.
We're like, how on earth did they do that? Because that's a practical effect.
Is it really?
Yeah,
How do they get that thing to walk?
it's people behind it. There's a picture of it in here. There's just handles on the back to move the legs, and there's the voice actors are behind those,
Saying their lines.
saying their lines and interacting with the people. Yeah, it's so good. The cinematography is so amazing.
This is a disaster.
It's I have more trouble talking about films that I really like than films I'm just apathetic about.
Yeah.
Because I never know where to start.
No,
But
because this movie. Well, but the other thing about this movie is it is 3 hours long.
It's
It's
long.
a very large scope of a movie,
film.
and it covers a lot of ground. And a lot of people were weirded out, especially by the
the third act,
yes, where he goes into that fourth
the
dimensional.
Tesseract.
Yes, which I thought was great. You said
I
it harkened
really-
back to old sci-fi.
Yeah, there's a lot of influence from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Science fiction in the 80s became more action adventure-y.
Yeah.
But science fiction before that was very cerebral.
Yeah.
Like 50s and 60s sci-fi is really intellectual. They were trying to make you think. And so this is kind of what that's going back to. It's got hints of the action. Well, I mean, it's not an action adventure, but there are those elements in it. But there's also the cerebral kind of what's out there kind of notions. But yeah, a lot of people I know didn't like this film. People I love and respect, professors that I greatly respect, did not like this movie. And I can understand why people don't like this movie, because I guess if you don't buy the idea that he goes through this black hole to an extra dimension, then you would be lost on the movie. Because that's more often
That is a
than not.
crux of the movie.
Yeah, where people say the movie lost them is that moment.
But I thought it was so cool. I don't know.
I thought it was neat too.
I like anything
like it.
space, and I like the idea that there's more dimensions. And
Gotta go to space.
Gotta go to space.
Yeah, this movie's amazing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. What are you doing?
This is gonna be like
Spin.
a really short, rambly review.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is great. Jessica Chastain is great. John Lithgow, who I always forget is in this. He's the grandpa.
Oh, yes, he is. Ben Affleck's
Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck.
That I want to talk about. I so rarely, because I'm dead inside, I so rarely have any sort of
Dead inside.
I don't often have an emotional response to films, even at like sadder moments and things like that. But this movie, I guess probably just more because of the subject matter and the setting, I was drawn into the story already, but when it gets to that part where after they're stuck on the water planet briefly, and then they get back up to the Endurance, and they're like, you've been gone for like 23 years.
That was a crazy moment.
Yeah, and you're like, not great. And then he immediately goes to the little computer monitor, and they're like, oh, you've got 23 years of messages backed up. And I remember that moment in the theater going, this is gonna hurt. Like, I don't know what's about to happen,
But it's not gonna be
it's
fun.
not gonna be good. And then it's like, I think it's the fact that it's one message right after the other that were spaced out years apart when they were sent to Matthew McConaughey, but they suddenly are all there right at once, and so there's like no time to process all the things that are happening. And that scene also gave us one of the greatest videos of Matthew McConaughey watching the Force Awakens trailer.
We should put a link to that.
Yes,
because
go watch that.
Was almost as good as the actual first Force Awakens.
Yes.
All right.
There's a lot of really heartfelt moments. The comedy is surprisingly good.
Yeah,
because
Tars is really funny.
I love when robots are the comic relief.
Yeah.
Like,
Tars is a great character.
everybody comfortable, plenty of slaves for my robot colony.
Let's bring it down to 75.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
It's real nice.
Go watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's probably because you won't like it, but you
true.
should go watch it anyway.
You should go watch it, and then if you don't like it, that's fine. You're just wrong.